about a little bit more about what they're going to be growing and why, and particularly with reference to food production. What exactly kinds of crops will people be growing in space, what kinds of foods, and how will they create a good, satisfying, diverse, and nutritionally adequate menu. So I'm going to plunge right into it and point out that there are kind of two starting points. One is that colonists will, to the largest extent possible, and we're talking here not about a space station mission, we're talking about when they get to space colonies, lunar colonies, long-duration exploratory expeditions. Colonists will, to the largest extent possible, be growing their own as soon as possible. The cost of boosting food as opposed to seeds out of Earth's gravity is extreme, and to all intents and purposes prohibitive for the full support of any significant number of colonists. It can be done for shuttle flights, a handful of cosmonauts on a space station, but there is a pretty good consensus that for a colony of dozens or hundreds or eventually thousands of permanent or semi-permanent settlers, it's basically out of the question, which is why experiments to figure out how to grow food under very tight constraints of volume and energy are now actively underway. Which leads directly to the second given, which is that it will be necessary to absolutely maximize the amount of food produced from absolutely minimal amount of pressurized lighted volume. There doesn't seem to be much question that creating growing space, whether in tightly enclosed chambers or open raised beds or however it's going to be done, will be costly in terms of materials and work and time and energy. At least in the first decades, it will be a major effort to get enough food growing for every colonist to have enough, with enough variety for it to be palatable, and that is not optional, it's not a luxury. If it isn't appetizing, people who are not literally starving will not eat it. And colonists need to be well-nourished, well-fed, they need to be in good shape. So the food has to be not only enough calories, but also enough variety and enough taste to afford excellent nutrition and enjoyability. At the same time, minimum volume has to produce food which has maximum goodness, both from the health and taste standpoints. So working from these starting points, we can ask, A, what will settlers of early space and lunar colonies raise for food? And B, how will they achieve appetizing variety and adequate nutrition for what they can raise at an early date? So, let me drop the boom right away for anybody who hasn't heard yet. What colonists will not be raising anytime soon is animals, any animals. I've been manning a table out there in the exhibition room, and I think people are pretty much starting to get the idea about the problems of animal husbandry. But I figure I should run through the details anyway. Just to make sure that everybody kind of has a real clear picture about it. The reason is simply that even beyond the extra effort required, animal husbandry of any sort multiplies many-fold the amount of crop volume required. The problem is that animals have to eat and be cared for. They breathe oxygen, they breathe water. They'll basically be competing with colonists for human quality food. And that's food that could be eaten directly by people instead of very inefficiently passed through animals. And I would add that even when animals eat hay or straw, stuff that humans can't eat, that are byproducts of crops that humans can't eat, you're still devoting crop volume to raising this forage. And furthermore, animals take up a lot of room, require care, produce a lot of excrement. Agribusiness has discovered that if you want maximum efficiency in livestock raising, you have to go to high quality, high protein feed. You need to go to intensive confinement operations, which are, however, extremely unhealthy for the animals, and would therefore require colonists to either produce or bring up from earth, pretty massive amounts of growth hormones and antibiotics. You may remember that we never used to have trouble eating raw eggs until most of the egg production went to factory farming, where they're so tightly crowded together that they would all die if they weren't continually fed antibiotics, leading to antibiotic-resistant salmonella living in all the chicken's guts, and that's where the salmonella in raw eggs comes from. Free-range eggs don't seem to have that. But if you want maximum production from minimum space, that's how you're doing it. So that's kind of how that problem develops. Also, as rural residents throughout the South and Midwest and parts of the West are beginning to discover, to their extreme dismay, intensive animal confinement operations produce a god-awful smell, massive amounts of manure, ammonia, and our space and lunar colonists will be, as Peter Kokh likes to put it, living downwind and downstream of themselves. They are not really going to be severely polluting their own environment in that way. Besides which, intensive confinement operations are really cruel to the animals and produce really a lot of animal suffering, which is kind of dehumanizing to inflict, and our colonizers, our settlers, really may not want to do that. They may kind of emotionally not want to do that. Raising a couple of chickens and a slow-growing hog in the barnyard, letting them eat what people can't, still takes a lot of space. It takes much more time. It's than factory farming. It requires manure disposal. And in short, the logistics of raising animals for food efficiently just won't be really practical in the early decades of a space settlement, if ever. And of course, raising animals on otherwise unusable rangeland is going to be done on Earth. It's just not going to be a space colony practice. Further, remember that much of any animal's non-edible parts, like fur, feathers, scales, guts and other organs, bones, and so on. Also, animals use much of the feed that they take in for their own metabolic energy requirements and to be excreted as manure. Thus, they convert plants to human food very efficiently. The range from pounds of feed varies. I took this particular visual aid out of Francis Moore-Pay's Diet for a Small Planet updated edition. It's probably very over-optimistic. A few years ago, a guy named Stan Love tried to make a best-case scenario calculation. He came up with the figure that for space colonists to get 10% of food from animal products would require quadrupling the crop volume. An American Agriculturist magazine article, that's a cattle ranch and trade journal, calculated at least 10 pounds of grain to produce 1 pound of steer, but only 35 to 40% of the steer is edible meat. Doing that arithmetic makes it look like more like 25 to 28 pounds of feed for each pound of meat for meat. If that kind of holds down the line there, ratio, then the ratio, even for, say, chickens, would be something more like 5 to 1. So that 5 pounds of grains and beans could give you 2 to 4 servings of eggs or chicken meat, or 20 veggie burgers, 20 quarter-pound veggie burgers. So you can see that, and then don't forget the extra volume the animals require to live in, the waste disposal problem, which includes both manure and inedible innards and feathers and bones, animal water use, is also substantial and similarly inefficient, whereas early colonists will have to be extremely rigorous about not wasting a single drop of water. Also, although some of the inedible plant parts could be fed to animals, it still requires their care, the problem of disposing the local manure. A composting operation is therefore needed in any case. But again, if you would take that plant waste and compost it directly, use the end product directly as compost tea in your hydroponic operations, or later on to build fertile soil, you turn the waste into nutrients for plants that nourish people directly, far more efficiently, without the problems of animal husbandry and without the smell and health issues of dealing with dead animal parts and animal excrement. In short, the inefficiencies of extra volume requirements and health problems and environmental difficulties and oxygen conservation involved in animal food production will dictate that in early colonies, maximum food production being grown for minimum volume with minimum effort, it's going to be vegan, which is the particular kind of vegetarianism that involves eating no animal products at all. This said, yes?
Good fish. You can dump stuff in there.
Well, they're still animals, they still breathe oxygen, they still excrete, and the waste has to be dealt with. And it's still, again, very efficient.
Well, it's more efficient than cows.
Well, it's more efficient than cows, but not really more efficient than chickens. It's a fairly similar equation. It's still, probably if, as and when, later on, as more leeway develops, and some colonists may choose to go back to eating some animal products, probably fish is the first thing they look at.
Or the other side is the colony doesn't get built until we produce animal products.
Excuse me?
Where, on the other hand, the colony doesn't get built until we can have enough space to produce animal products.
Well, let me go on and explain that. Now that we've established that animal products will not be there in the early decades, let me explain that animal products are not needed for either excellent human nutrition nor for food enjoyment, because that's what I really want to talk about even more. First, let's look at human nutrition and put the nutrition buggy man to bed right away. You can get everything you need for excellent human nutrition from plant products alone. Human adults need, besides adequate water, about 2,000 calories of food per day, give or take, depending on your size and activity level. We need plenty of complex carbohydrates for energy, which should be the main amount of our food. We need about 3/4 of a gram of pure protein per kilogram, not per pound, of body weight. Since there's 28 grams per ounce, you need about 1.5 to 3 ounces of pure protein per day. It's not a lot. Even though no food has pure protein, you get an adequate number of calories of whole foods, grains, vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, and you don't even have to think about your protein, it's there. We also need a very little fat to metabolize the fat-soluble vitamins A, E, and K, and to provide concentrated energy for people who need it. 10 to 15% of calories from fat is way sufficient. The Dean Ornish diet which helps people recover health that they've lost. Recommends 10% or a little bit less of calories for that. Then, of course, there's the laundry list of vitamins and minerals, including salt. Where do you get those? Complex carbohydrates are found in all whole grains and vegetables, beans, and fruits, which should underpin any diet anyway. The new USDA Food Guide Pyramid suggests that the base of the pyramid, the largest number of servings of any food group per day that you get, should be whole grains. And then you add to those, the second tier of the pyramid is vegetables and fruits. So you get those and you've got your complex carbohydrates. The second most plentiful thing that you need is protein. Protein is also present in whole grains to a significant extent. It's very plentiful in dark green leafy vegetables. Up to 40% of their admittedly very few calories are protein calories. You get it in root vegetables, beans, peas, nuts, seeds. If your diet is varied, you're getting a lot of different protein foods. You do not need to combine different kinds of plant proteins in each meal. Your body does just fine if you get an adequate variety in the course of each day. The only actual vegetable foods that are not high protein are fruits. That includes those vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers that we call vegetables, but which really are the fruit of the plant. We'll be going for a menu variety anyway, purely on palatability grounds. Our protein needs, if we're eating the simple whole foods, are going to take care of themselves. Fats and oils are present in the germ of whole grains, if you're a wheat germ oil, as well as in plant oils like peanuts. If you're eating peanuts, which are going to be one of the early crops, nuts and seeds, as well as some of the other plant oils, it's going to be all too easy to get more fat than we need without adding any highly fatty animal products. Finally, as for vitamins, B vitamins, second on my list there, are very well represented in whole grains, also to some extent in beans. The B vitamin folacin or folate is actually a component of chlorophyll. It's called folacin because it's part of foliage. Although there is some in whole grains as well. Carotenoids, our body makes vitamin A from beta carotene, but there's a whole family of carotenoid substances, each one of which is present in different amounts in different plants, each one of which our bodies use in a different way for immune system function. They're present in red, orange, and yellow fresh vegetables and fruits, also in dark green leafies. Vitamin C is widely available in fruits and vegetables. Vitamin E is associated with fats and oils, also occurs in whole grains that include germ and nuts and seeds. Vitamin K is found in dark green leafy vegetables again. The only nutrient not available from plants is vitamin B12, which is formed by bacterial fermentation. We probably ferment some in our own digestive tracts. Whether or not we absorb it from our own digestive tracts is unknown because the experiment has not been done. Nobody has asked that question in research as far as I know. Long-term vegans are usually advised these days to take a B12 supplement. It's an off-the-shelf technology. You have a little vat where you have some bacteria, and they ferment and they make B12, and you take it off and make that into a supplement. As for minerals, we talk about, we hear a lot about getting calcium from dairy, but the cow that produces the milk is not drinking milk itself. The cow is eating grass and grains, dark green leafies and whole grains, and we can get our calcium from those sources as well. Also, calcium metabolism is extremely complex. but there does seem to be very excellent evidence that when people are not eating animal products, for some reason, and they have a finished working out mechanism, they retain calcium very much better than if they are eating animal protein. So our colonists, being vegans by necessity, will be retaining the calcium they eat. And vegans on Earth eat much less calcium than dairy eaters and omnivores, and they tend strongly to have much stronger bones. Don't ask me why. I've been reading that this is the case, but nobody's sorted out the mechanism yet. Iron is available in many dried beans and also in dried fruits, especially dried cherries, but also raisins, dried apricots, and so on. This is non-heme iron. It's absorbed less readily than animal-derived heme iron, but the eating of fruits and vegetables with their vitamin C enhances absorption and more or less holds itself out. Zinc is available from seeds, mushrooms, soy, and wheat germ, whole wheat, as well as from animal products. Salt is the only thing I've been able to think of that may actually need to be upported from Earth. I don't know whether they're going to have sources of sodium and chlorine in space unless they bring away them. But that's the only one I know of, yeah?
Well, you have to bring over the chlorine anyway, but you need
Yeah.
chlorine for industrial processes. You need chlorine anyway. There's lots of sodium.
So salt they maybe bring up, or else they'll be, if they're bringing up chlorine and they find sodium, they can manufacture it themselves. So there you have it. And by the way, salt intake in the space colony is going to be minimized anyway, because they'll want to be using human excretions as part of the stew in the hydroponic nourishment of plants, and plants don't do well in a high salt environment. What actually happens is that if you eat a lower salt diet than you're used to, over a month or two, your body adapts, and then the lower salt content tastes just as good to you, and it's just as tasty to you as the higher salt used to be. So, in short, all necessary nutrients, with the possible exception of salt and B12, are fully, readily, easily available on a decently varied all-plant food diet. And this is true for everyone all the time. I have encountered the notion more than once that veganism may be okay for adults, but animal foods are needed by fetuses, pregnant women, by children, by people with especially high nutritional needs, and it just doesn't work that way. I'm a member of a vegetarian group with several young families, and I personally know, okay, that's not going to work. I personally know a number of children who have been vegan since conception, that is, their mothers were vegan during those pregnancies, and these kids are fine, healthy, normal, sturdy kids. Right number of everything, including brains, immune systems, bones, everything. Even people eating to meet the nutritional stress of healing injuries or illnesses or going through pregnancy can get everything they need from plant foods if they pay attention to it. But people ought to be paying attention anyway. So, having established that early colonists can survive as vegans, the question remains, is it worth it? What will they eat to actually enjoy their food? And what will they grow in order to be able to do that? I'd like to start by suggesting that the variety of crops will be just as important as the yield, and that it's really just as easy to grow some of many crops as to grow a large amount of a few. So they'll be going for variety right away, early on. The first set of crops will have to include high-yielding grains, selected vegetables, protein foods, the legumes, and seasonings and spices to round it out and make it enjoyable and palatable. Wheat will surely be among the first crops, as I understand the experiments they're doing on rice and quinoa. I would suspect that there's no reason why, if they can grow something as tall as wheat, they can grow some of the shorter early yield varieties of corn as well. From these foods, you get bread, crackers, hot cereal, cold cereal, biscuits, muffins, tortillas and tacos, bulgur, couscous, and meat substitute from wheat gluten, which is called seitan, no pun intended, as well as the chief ingredients of pancakes, cakes, and cookies. Also among the first crops are legumes, peanuts, for snacking, for peanut butter, for peanut oil, many industrial uses, and beans and peas, which are good as green beans or green peas. Also, if you let them go to full ripening, high protein ingredients in an infinite variety of soups, chilies, and casseroles. Also, soybeans can make tofu, tempeh, soy substitutes for dairy, and soy substitutes for meat. And there is a lot of established technology for veggie burgers, non-meat loaf, textured vegetable protein for making chili and sloppy joes, and not hot dogs, and not sausages, and not sandwich meats, and not cheeses. So all of those animal food substitutes are available and are very rapidly becoming developed to the point that you can get very good quality, palatable stuff. Besides these, colonists will surely grow those dark green leafy vegetables. You might have heard me mentioning them as nutritional sources of a lot of different nutrients, like chard, spinach, kale, broccoli, beet greens, as well as dark leaf lettuces, maybe even dandelion greens. They're all quick growing and nutritional powerhouses. They'll grow potatoes, which have a higher yield of edible mass, providing for growing space than just about anything. And a variety of orange, red, yellow fleshed vegetables and fruits, including carrots, melons, beets, tomatoes, sweet potatoes, strawberries, peppers, mushrooms, onions, and garlic, and herbs and spices will also be among the first crops grown, just to round it out and make all the different kinds of cuisine that you want. Early herbs might be parsley, basil, oregano, thyme, bay, tarragon, cilantro, dill, and chili peppers. And you can produce a lot of different cuisines that way. Ultimately, I would think as the colony matures and develops more room and settlers start growing things in tubs in their own living space, they might add tree crops, they might add fruits, additional oils, condiments, grapes, maybe even olives, coffee, tropical, subtropical fruits like bananas, citrus, guava, papaya, mango, dates, figs, black pepper, tea, cocoa, almonds, and for sweetener, they're having trouble with that, either sugar beets or stevia if they don't rely on corn oil. They might choose not to ever grow the kinds of tree crops like apples that need winter freezing to flower and grow. From this, though, you can start getting an idea of what variety colonists might expect in their cuisines. Many kinds of grains, cereals, breads, even snacks and desserts, meat substitutes, potatoes, salads, green salads, pasta salads, potato salads, vegetables of many sorts, soups, stews, different kinds of seasonings will be available relatively early on. For what you can make from that, think in terms of all kinds of ethnic cuisine, which are essentially derived from various peasant foods, although in current common American versions, they've been beefed up and were originally vegetarian by nature. So we can have all kinds of ethnic cuisines without animal foods, but just by removing that interloper. You can get Chinese foods, stir fry of almost any vegetables with or without tofu. Rice goes under it, or ground nuts, plus grain foods and green leafy vegetables and tropical fruits for the staples. Middle Eastern cuisine, falafel, hummus, and so on. There's a Middle Eastern dish with lentils and rice, or lentils and onions. There's one with mashed fava beans and garlic. There's couscous with vegetables and sauce. Italian, you can get pasta with tomato sauce. You can get minestrone soup. And so you're starting to get the idea that there's a lot of different cuisines that you can have. Breakfast can include cereal, toast, bagel, muffin, roll, tofu scramble. Instead of scrambled eggs, you can have tofu scramble. You can have nut sausage, you can have fruit or juice. Lunch can be a vegetable soup, a bean soup with a roll or muffin, a peanut butter sandwich or a meat analog sandwich or a salad sandwich, vegan pizza or focaccia, potato salad, pasta salad, taco, falafel, leftover from dinner last night, vegetable sticks, green salad, beverage, dessert. Snacks can be crackers, pretzels, nuts, candy, yeah, sure. Right now, corn syrup is the main ingredient in most candies. They'll be growing beets anyway. Beet sugar was available long before corn syrup or cane sugar. For dinner, we have a handout over at the table that we have in the exhibit room, and it's got a what do you eat sheet. Things that my family eats for dinner might be whole wheat pasta with sauce and maybe beans or peas, maybe string beans or peas, pea soup with cornbread and broccoli, a rice with pea vegetable pilau and a squash, a roasted squash, a bean casserole with root rice and salad, Chinese stir fry, baked potato with kasha and rice and lentil pilaf with salad. That's not even scratching the surface. I know I've gone over and I don't want to go too far over. But you get the idea that vegan diets not only meet nutritional needs, but there's an awful lot of variety and good foods that you can eat. Nobody needs to be deprived. I'll take questions now.
Well, first of all, looking at your list of proposed crops, you're going to have to take animals with you anyway. Because you cannot get crops there without insect pollinators. So you're going to have to take insects with you.
Well, bees do not have all of those problems that I was mentioning about disposal of manure, about competing for food.
Yes, except honeybees will not tolerate confined spaces.
Well,
You have to use it. You ought to use some of the bee.
well, they are growing these crops in very confined, controlled conditions, as the previous speaker was describing. And I'm not sure how they're getting them to flower and fruit, but they're doing it. It's certainly
Well, you're definitely going to have to get
possible.
fertilization for your cucumbers and things like that.
If you have a very small amount of space, or if your crop is relatively small, it can be hand pollinated. People who are breeding seeds or trying to breed hybrids hand pollinate. And that's, so as long as your space is confined, the number of settlers and the amount of crops you're growing are probably confined enough you can hand pollinate. Once you get a large enough space that it's no longer practical to hand pollinate, you've got a big enough space for the bees to fly, I would think.
You think that anyway, just like you have to have robotic manipulators to just maintain the crops in general. Like you think that you could pollinate with robotics, just like you add fertilizer with robotics or whatever.
Well, another problem is still going to be the fact is people do not eat corn shocks, corn cobs, rice straw.
Oh, that's
You're going to be producing literally tons of waste plant matter that you can, and if you don't mind, I suppose you can just chuck it out the airlock door on the surface of Mars.
They'll be conserving everything. For one thing, they'll eat paper, and you make paper some of the rice straw and some of the corn straw. That's a technology that's being developed now by people hoping to save the remnants of our forests. The other answer is anything that isn't used industrially is going to be composted. You grind it up, you put it in a compost pile, it rots down, and you either use that as compost tea in your hydroponics, or you spread it on soil that you want to build. You want to make redwood into soil, you add organic material, and that's compost. Yes.
But,
There's a question.
Yes, concerning what you do with waste, I was thinking about using,
I'm sorry.
with what you do with the inedible portion of the crop, want to bring along yeast or other composters to digest it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's bacteria.
It's indeed the case that you need certain beneficial microorganisms to make
Also,
to cause the compost pile to decompose.
could these microorganisms
These are available in mail order catalogs right now.
could these microorganisms be engineered to produce, say, the vitamin B12 that's missing from the vegan diet?
That's a good thought.
You might want to talk to Mr. Or what's his name?
I believe B12 is currently extracted from a bacterial source.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah.
That's what I said.
The
I don't know if it's the same microbes.
The key problem you run into really is this question of social engineering. Most people who are not on a vegan diet probably would not want to go if that's all that's available.
Well, I guess that's...
Not unless they are extremely driven by some other factor.
Some of them undoubtedly are. And I guess I can speak from experiences of my own and also vicarious, people I've known. People who were meat eaters and needed to stop doing that and go to a vegan diet for health reasons overnight. Found it pretty hard in the first weeks. But what happens is they got used to it. And they certainly can come and tell people, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And you...
Again, like I say, the problem of social engineering,
Yes.
when you change foods that you're culturally accustomed to,
Yes.
it's extremely difficult. And like I say, unless they are forced to do it by some other factors, they probably won't.
But one thing that they could do, people who are, certainly there would be a lead time between the time when you volunteer to become an astronaut and the time, or rather a space colonist, and the time that the colony actually is launched. And that time could be used as a weaning curve. But you know, people go on a Dean Ornish plan. They've been meat eaters. Their cardiologist sends them out to the program. Within a matter of weeks, they're vegetarians, and they don't miss it. I invite everybody here who doubts that you can be happy as a vegetarian to come to the luncheon tomorrow, because the Saturday luncheon will be vegan. There will be a variety of different foods, and the speaker is going to be talking about Lunar Prospector and how they found water ice on the moon. So that's worth coming to just to hear the speaker. I guarantee, if you come to that luncheon, your tummy will be full and you will enjoy it. And you will be eating more healthily than the standard American diet.
I'd like to point out one thing though too. In the case of a lunar settlement, the cost of a pound of grain on the moon will be determined by the cost of electricity because of the lunar night. There are no higher order plants that can survive through the lunar night without supplementary light.
And that's how
So that means you have very expensive grains and protein sources. The counterpoint to that is if you could use the lunar day to produce your protein or your energy source, but that's only 2 weeks, which means there are lower order plants such as algae which can digest them. However, algae is not palatable. However, a ruminant such as cattle will eat algae.
But then you have, I know what you're saying, but you still have the problem of the ruminants taking up an awful lot of oxygen, giving out an awful lot of manure, and then I suspect out in Iowa, the corn still grows. I suspect that you can have higher light, lower light levels, and even though you're still using lighting, you can keep them going and the grains going and growing. This needs to be worked on. I've also seen a previous speaker, where he was coming from, that he also has an exhibit over there in the exhibit room, and they're experimenting with using very low levels of lighting, of very carefully chosen wavelengths in order to keep
when you get down to
the
settlements,
light.
it becomes really a question of, well, if the cost of meat increases by a factor of 10, we'll assume also the bread also rises by a factor of 10. How will your diet change?
I didn't follow that. I think that somebody has to crunch the numbers for all the different ways of doing it. Yeah.
What percentage of the U.S. right now is vegetarian, I mean strict vegetarian?
Nobody knows. And I have tried to find out because I've been asked before. And it keeps changing. A lot of people have experimented with vegetarianism. Many of us
What's your definition of vegetarian?
Okay. A vegetarian eats no animal flesh while being a vegetarian. Some people eat milk and dairy and eggs. Some people don't. Vegans are probably a minority. Do you know what the current percentage guess is? 3 or 4%, 2%? Okay, so a couple of percent are vegans now. A larger percentage than that are vegetarians who eat very little dairy. A larger percentage than that are vegetarians who just avoid animal flesh. A larger percentage than that look for vegetarian, eat vegetarian certain number of days a week, but not every day.
That seems to be one of the larger areas right now.
People are just cutting down,
But actually strictly vegetarian.
which is very good for the environment. But yeah, right now, vegans are a small percentage of us, and some of us feel that that's one of the ways in which space development and space exploration and colonization could help benefit Earth. Because the problems of animal livestock operations, the way it's being done in the United States now and on Earth now, are very, very, in the long term, environmentally non-sustainable. And that doesn't mean you can't have sustainable animal agriculture on Earth, but the way it's going now, that isn't the way it's being done. And to help preserve Earth's environment, if a lot more people went towards a more plant-based, less animal-based diet, and if more people became aware of veganism as a viable option, it would help preserve Earth's environment. And that's one of the ways, if space colonies can prove that people who didn't think they could possibly be happy as vegans find that they are, that could be another technology that spins back down to Earth and helps us here.
What could happen is a settlement of vegans,
Yeah.
and who knows what could happen because are you aware of the story of Abilene?
I believe, no.
Abilene, Texas is a big center for cow ranching.
Yeah.
It was originally established by a vegetarian group.
It happens. Yeah.
With regards to what to do with the waste from corn and stuff, there's two key things that you didn't mention. And the first of which is textiles. Lunar glasses can produce almost any kind of textile you need. Name a textile in this room, and almost everything except underwear can be produced out of lunar glasses. They're excellent, or even just a composite with lunar glasses and something else. And you can also, so what you do with the corn husks or any cellulose material that's left over is you turn it into rayon. Very straightforward process. We do it on Earth all the time. And rayon is better than cotton. It's an excellent material, and you can produce it out of corn husks. And the other thing is to pyrolyze it. You get lunar oxygen free of charge virtually, and you get solar concentrators, and you mix the oxygen with the waste material, whatever it is, and then you get nitrogen oxide, you get carbon dioxide, you get water, you get stuff like that, and then with very straightforward chemical processes, you can convert that back into fertilizer, back into everything that matters. The Artemis Project has done a bunch of research on that. I've done a bunch of research on lunar textiles and stuff, and this is all stuff that's what you do close.
Nice. That's additional assistance. I always accept additional assistance. Are there any other questions?
Could you make sort of a faux meat for those who are not quite fully acclimated, say synthetic steak from the soy or the scrambled tofu scramble?
I'm sorry, I wasn't hearing that.
Could you make sort of a false
The
meat?
analogs from the vegetarian materials to basically help people who are socially approaches to meat transfer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's really what would happen is that early colonists who are used to meat are going to have their hamburgers. They'll have tofu, soy burgers, and they will have their tofu scramble and their sausage links at breakfast, and it will help them bridge that gap. Some of them may ultimately decide that, gee, beans are just fine, and other people will ultimately, want to continue to have their meat analogs. What happens to people who become vegetarian, either gradually or suddenly, is that once they get over the shock, they find after a period of time that they've begun to lose their taste for meat. They actually very often end up not, a year later they go back and they are so told, you can eat meat now, and try it, and go, ew, I used to like this stuff, I thought I liked this. So once, it's certainly true that they would use the meat analogs to get over the hump. They might eventually reach a point where they didn't want them anymore. And some of them would not reach that point, some of them would continue to want them. Some of them would be right there creating the aquaculture tanks to grow fish when there was enough size and enough leeway to make that possible. There's a lot of questions really over the very long term. Humans have evolved among other biota, and we kind of like having birds and butterflies and companion animals. And it might be that eventually a goal of that the colonies might choose, might be eventually to get large enough and to develop a resilient enough and a biotically diverse enough ecosystem where they could have not only plants and microorganisms, but could also have birds and butterflies and hummingbirds.
Add to that with an even more complex project.
Excuse me?
Even more than that is a more complex project. A zoo in space.
A zoo in space. Well, that would be the ultimate arc and the ultimate goal as far as that.
This is it, it's Cosmic Museum.
Am I finally done?
Yes.
Okay.
Say what all you want to say, because I mean,
We were doing
I'm
questions.
just filling in.
No, we were doing questions and answers, so anybody have any further comments? Okay, well, thanks.
We have a strong environmental movement on Earth, but sometimes we're a little cynical about what we are going to achieve here. For the simple reason that our biosphere is so big and so generous that we can act crazy, commit environmental sins, and they do not come back to haunt us for a while. We don't pay the penalty right away. The point I'd like to make is that in space, no matter where we go, going to be living in small biospheres. We're essentially will be living downwind and downstream of ourselves. We mess up, we're going to be the ones who are coughing, poisoned, not the next generation.